From the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, let me share some of the most beautiful words of Sri Krishna. He alone, the unchangeable Spirit, pervades all and is imperishable. Nothing can destroy his eternal reality. That indwelling self is ever changeless, imperishable, and without limitation. Only these fleshly garments can be destroyed. The self is not born, nor does it perish. Self-existent, it continues its existence forever. It is birthless, eternal, changeless, and ever the same. The self is not slain when the body dies. Just as a person removes a worn-out garment and dons a new one, so the soul, living in a physical body, discards it when it becomes outworn and replaces it with a new one. Weapons cannot cut the soul, fire cannot burn it, water cannot drown it, wind cannot wither it away. The soul is never touched. It is immutable, all-pervading, calm, unshakable. Its existence is eternal. The self is unmanifested and formless. All wisdom is contained in those wonderful words. The entire spiritual path, we can say, and I should repeat them over and over, memorize them. And the next time we feel tempted to fear or to get angry, just remember, the soul is never touched. It is all-pervading, calm, unshakable. Do we choose to identify with that calm, eternal soul? Or do we choose to identify with passing emotions? In the moments of crisis, we can't respond in a wise way unless we've had practice, unless we've lived these truths, brought them into ourselves through meditation, through understanding. Lahiri Mahashaya would say, if you don't invite God to be your summer guest, He won't be there in the winter when you need Him. We just need to practice. Make the habit now of living more in that eternal, calm soul. We need reminders every day, repeating these words from the Gita, reading the Guru's words, listening to Swami Kriyananda, praying and meditating even a short time. Krishna elsewhere in the Gita says, perform every action in the thought of me. If you cannot do even that, then give me your intentions. Such a loving command that He gives us. Give me your intentions. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't expect to get it perfect right now. Now, while we're learning these things, more important than the act itself is our intention. Swamiji said, patience means to keep the compass of your intention ever pointed toward the pole star of high purpose, no matter how many influences intrude to deflect it. And Yoganandaji charmingly tells the story. It was the gentle hour of dusk. My guru was matchlessly interpreting the ancient texts. At his feet, I was in perfect peace. A rude mosquito entered and competed for my attention. As it dug a poisonous hypodermic needle into my thigh, I automatically raised an avenging hand. I stopped, remembering Patanjali and Ahimsa. Why didn't you finish the job? You wanted to, Sri Yukteswar said. Patanjali's meaning was not just the act of killing, but removal of the desire to kill. This illustrates the intention to harm, but the same is true with a noble intention. There's a man, John Robbins was his name, and he was from a wealthy family. He could have lived an easy and selfish life. Instead, he chose his own way, and he helped the world greatly and became a well-known author of diet and nutrition. And then one day he lost 98% of his money. And at that time his wife said to him, if you had led a superficial life, you'd be left with nothing else to fall back on. Instead, this loss does nothing to tarnish your work, the person that you've become. In fact, he wasn't deeply affected by that loss. He showed with the right intention, everything eventually works out for the best. Even when tragedy does strike, we're less affected, and then we're not affected at all. In energization exercises, we know that energy follows concentration. When we concentrate on a body part, we draw the energy to that body part. Likewise, results follow our intention. Dronacharya was testing his students in archery, and he asked them to aim their bow at the head of a bird sitting in the tree. And he asked each of them in turn, what do you see? And the typical answer was, well, I see the bird, I see some branches of the tree, I see the sky behind. And then he asked Arjuna, what do you see? Arjuna responded, I see the head of the bird. What else do you see? I see nothing else. I see the head of the bird. And Drona knew that he would be successful, that his concentration, his intention was so one-pointed that the results naturally come. It's only when our intention is right will we have that success. And if we want the result of harmony with others, we need to have the intention, not just of that, but the intention of inner harmony within ourselves. Swamiji suggests that for any problem in life, before you meditate, spend a moment. Send out blessings of harmony and light to the whole world, but especially those that you have difficulty with, maybe those who are involved in this particular problem. and really concentrate with will and send out this vibration. Unless we have this attitude, we can't even meditate. Sooner or later, we come up against some inner friction caused by this disharmony in the heart. Jesus said similarly, if you're in the temple to make an offering and you remember that your brother is angry with you, go from the temple, go to your brother and make peace with him, and then come back to the temple and make your gift at the altar. With a clear conscience, with a purified heart, and with inner harmony, then only will you get results. And with inner harmony, we live in the inner self. Thank you.
There's a story about a woman who's in a coma, and God comes to her and says, "Who are you?" And within this coma, the woman can answer God, and she says, "I'm Reena Singh." He said, "No, who are you?" She said, "I'm Reena Singh, wife of Daljit Singh, mother of Sureka and Sanjeev Singh." He said, "Where do you think you're from?" "I'm from a village in Haryana. We grow food. We're part of the Congress Party." He said, "Stop." He said, "I'm going to send you back now. You need to continue your life and figure out and find out who you really are." And I thought that story was a nice illustration of how natural it is for us to think, who are we? That we're our names, we're our bodies, we're our what position in the family and where we're from. And we kind of laugh at it during the satsang, ho, 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 not me. But really, most of the week, where are we with that question? Who are we? Yogananda would talk about the actor, the movie actor, who may have so many different roles, so many different movies in life. You know, he may be the villain, he may be the hero, he may be the father, the son, the pirate, the murderer. You know, he may be any number of things. But the good actor never forgets that these are just roles he's playing. He's changing his costumes for every movie. And of course, he doesn't ever forget who he is. And yet, the soul incarnates again and again in so many different roles. And yet it seems that soon as we land into this material world, we completely believe the situation we've been put in. Oh, I'm a mother. Oh, I'm a father. I'm a businessman. I'm a housewife. And we just think this is our reality. And we have lost all memory of who we really are. Sri Yukteswar says, like I mentioned last week, is that we all suffer from spiritual amnesia. We are confused about who we really are. And as long as we remain confused and in amnesia, we will continue to be victims of our circumstance, victims of our environment, victim of everything that's happening around us, because we don't remember who we are. Yogananda also said that he showed an example that if we have a dream right now in our daily life, if I had a dream today, and in my dream I dreamed that I died 1,000 times and I was reborn 1,000 times, I would wake up tomorrow morning and basically my consciousness would not be altered. I would have just said, oh, that was a dream. But in God's dream, in God's cosmic dream, the soul is having the same dream. Being born, dying again and again, but just within that bigger dream. It's the dream within the dream. And we need to just step back and remember that that soul is imperishable. The self does not die. In fact, Yogananda said, at physical death, man loses his consciousness of the flesh and becomes conscious of his astral body in the astral world. Thus, physical death is astral birth. Later, he passes from consciousness of astral death and awakens in a new physical body. Thus, astral death is physical birth. That is such for all unenlightened men. And so, how can we get over this mistaken identity? I mean, even if we have a bad back, we say, I have a bad back. You know, Swami Kriyananda, he had hip surgery. And just a few days after his hip surgery, where the doctor told him he would be in bed for a long time and would need so much help walking, he was doing energization exercises, holding the edge of his bed within 2 days. You know, I don't know, most of you know Naya Swami Shivani. She was in Rishikesh last year, completely broke her ankle. And the doctor told her she wouldn't be able to walk for 8 weeks. Most of you may have seen the video where she was doing first energization in her wheelchair and then energization standing up. And within 2.5 weeks, she was walking with some help. We don't have to believe what the material senses tell us. And so where are we on this spectrum of believing I am a body or I am a soul? Yogananda also tells a story. Actually, Swami Kriyananda told us this story that he heard from Yogi Ramaya, disciple of Ramana Maharshi. And the story was of Namdev, who was a great disciple of Krishna and would have visions of Krishna in the temple regularly. And one day during a temple festivity, there was also another saint in the village that was a potter. And all the villagers were there, and the potter saint was there, and the potter saint had the idea that he was going to start sort of slapping the devotees that are around, because he slaps pots to see if they have a crack in them and see if they're solid. It depends on the sound of the pot when he slaps them. So he was going around slapping the devotees. Devotees thought it was fun, that the saint must be giving them some spiritual blessing. And the potter saint came up to Namdev and slapped Namdev, and Namdev was outraged. He said, "Why did you slap me?" And the potter saint said, "Oh, there's a crack in this pot." And so Namdev went running to Krishna. "Krishna, can you believe? I'm so indignant. This potter saint just slapped me in front of all my devotees." And Krishna said, "But Namdev, you do have a crack in your pot." And so Namdev prostrated himself in front of Krishna and said, "What can I do, Lord? What can I do? I want to be one with you. I want all my delusions removed." And Krishna said, "Well, you need a guru who can show you the way." And he said, "Why do I need a guru? I already see you, the Lord of the universe. Why would I need a guru?" He said, "You may have visions of me, and I may be able to give you wise advice and guide you. But you need," let me just read this exactly. He said, "You need a guru. I can't lead you out of delusion. Only through the medium of one who knows me, you need a guru." So he told Namdev the name of the guru, the village. Namdev went to the village, and the villagers said, "Oh, that crazy lunatic, you'll find him over there in the temple." So Namdev goes to that temple and sees this disheveled, dirty man laying on the floor with his feet touching the Shiva Lingam. He goes running over to the man and says, "What are you doing? Your feet are on the Shiva Lingam." And the man said, "Oh, I'm just so old. Please, just move my feet wherever there isn't a Shiva Lingam." And so Namdev immediately moves his feet to another spot, and underneath his feet there appears another Shiva Lingam. And so Namdev moves the man's feet again, and again there's another Shiva Lingam. And then Namdev understood and said, "You are my guru. I am so sorry for doubting you." And the guru said, "God is everywhere, Namdev. Realize him in yourself and behold him residing in all things." And then his guru touched him on the heart, and he went into cosmic consciousness, and he saw the divine vision. He saw God in every atom of creation, throughout space, through every person and creature, and of course, he saw God within himself and realized that God, in fact, was himself. And so he went wandering the countryside in samadhi for a couple months and finally wandered back to the village where the Krishna temple was. And he went inside of the Krishna temple and sat down and meditate. And Krishna said to me, Namdev, you've neglected me. Where have you been? And Namdev said, my beloved, how could I think of coming here to see you when I see you everywhere? And Krishna said, okay, there's no more cracks in that pot. So until we understand that God is in everything and God is fully in us, and that is our true identity, we will be bound to the fears, the darkness, the limitations of this body, of this world. And where are we on that spectrum? We have to ask ourselves, where are we? Because we're somewhere in between thinking we're completely a body or that we're infinite spirit. And as much as we want to know and remember and affirm that we are infinite spirit, soon as something dangerous happens, we get filled with fear. What if we're driving down the street and a car is in our incoming lane? What do? Scream. Or we move the car, obviously, but if the car hits us and we're just about to hit us, we're going to scream because deep inside we really do probably think we're still these bodies. And what about, COVID-19? Where are we with that? What do we believe? We want to know that we are infinite spirit, that our body cannot be slain, that the bodies of our families cannot be slain. But where is our true belief? Where is our experience of who we really are? This is why we meditate. We have to have an experience within us. It can't just be reading the scriptures. It can't just be intellectually. You have to ask yourself, what do I believe? Where can I remain unshaken and stay in a foundation that no one can push me over, that I will not lose faith? So do I believe in God? Contemplate that, meditate on that. We almost all, of course, will say, yes, I believe in God. But what does that mean to you? If you believe in God, who does that mean you are? What is your relationship with that God? What is he to you? What are you to him? Contemplate that. We need to introspect. Do I have faith in God? Ask yourself, do I have faith? Do I have faith in God? What does that mean? Write in your journal. Spend weekends thinking about it. Spend a seclusion thinking about it. And really understand what you believe. Because life so much is what we focus on. We can focus on God's light. We can focus on God's infinite peace. We can focus on the power of God that we know is all around us. Or we can focus on weakness. We can focus on the darkness. We can focus on the fear. Where are we going to put our attention? Because that will be our experience. Our environment influences us so much. Yogananda said, environment is stronger than willpower. Even though I may know I'm infinite spirit, if everyone around me is telling me I'm a body and I'm about to get a disease, or they're about to get a disease, how is that environment influencing you? What are you reading every day? What are you exposing yourself? What news, what media? It's what we focus on influences our consciousness. And so we have that choice. Even though we may be locked down with a family that has different beliefs, we have the choice of what we're going to let into our consciousness. We can go off in a separate room and read a different book and read a different set of truths. The news, which are superficial facts, or the eternal truth. What do you want to focus on? So our thoughts are part of our environment. What are our thoughts? What are we affirming? What are our attitudes? People recently within Delhi, I know many of you here today, were in the silent retreat this weekend. How badly we need these silent retreats. We need to take time to set ourself aside, especially during times like this. We are in a world transition. And it can be a time of incredible growth for each of our souls, for the evolution of the planet. But we have to be the ones to usher in that evolution. You know, if here we are the Kriyabans, we're the meditators, we're the disciples of the great masters, and we allow ourselves to be influenced by the negativity or fear of our environment, what is that saying about our masters? What is that saying about our faith? We have the choice to live in joy, to live in light. So we need to strengthen the environment around us. We need to strengthen the people around us, our family, our friends. It's our consciousness that we have control over. So let's live in that infinite consciousness, experience it in meditation, and then we can help others. Because if we're afraid of death, if we think the teachings don't work, how can we possibly help others? Our highest dharma is to expand and uplift our own consciousness. Our second highest dharma is to help uplift the consciousness of others. And when you think about death, I mean, we may know people who are dying right now. We may know people who have died, who will die. We all go through this. This is one of the most important lessons of life. But what are we going to share about that? Yogananda says, from joy people are born, for joy they live, in joy they melt at death. Death is an ecstasy, for it removes the burden of the body. It frees the soul of all pain, springing from the body, identification. Death is the cessation of pain and sorrow. And Swami Kriyananda has written an Astral Ascension ceremony. And in thinking about death, this is just a few excerpts of this Astral Ascension ceremony that we do when people pass from this world. And instead of being sorrowful, it is really a celebration of life. And yes, as humans, as living on this material plane, we will perhaps be sorrowful when our loved ones pass from this world, when people we know pass from this world. And for our own selves, we can have some sorrow for a time, but for them, we should not have sorrow. We should know that it's our self-pain that we're crying for. So as long as we're focused on self, we'll be in pain. But if we focus on them, we can be in joy because they're in joy. Here's some excerpts from the Astral Ascension ceremony. You who have gone before us have entered a realm which our souls remember, a place of freedom, light, and laughter. We shall meet again. Once more we shall laugh together, rejoice together, and share in the joy of seeking Him. Claim your soul's freedom. God is the only reality. See your physical form as a discarded garment. Clothed you now are in garments of radiant light. O free soul, see your past actions as seen in a vast, unfolding tapestry. Feast not your gaze wistfully on episodes already finished, but look ahead. New adventures await you, fresh, joyous victories as you advance towards perfect freedom. This is our aspiration, that we can live in that truth and that understanding. That's why the masters have come, to give us these teachings. Krishna incarnated to give us this lesson. The self cannot perish. So, as Keshava was saying, keep our attention and our awareness on the eye of the bird and focus on the light and become that light. Mother, awake me from my dreams. Mother, awake me in thy light. Hand in hand, we're dancing together in thy light. God bless you.